everyone, it's Nancy Wethington with you, and I'm going to show you how we're going to do the front and back covers for the Button Farm Christmas Tree Farm Kit, which is the open top box, and you've already hopefully gone through those directions, and it will also hold this 8.5 by 6.5 book, and an area to slide in your Christmas cards. So we're going to do a lay flat binding for this book, and you will have in your kit 2 pieces of chipboard, 8.5 tall by 6.5 wide, and then a piece for your spine that's 8.5 tall by 3 inches wide. So we're going to take these one at a time, and the front and back covers are done exactly the same, so really you don't need to worry about those, but we're going to take the paper, let me just move this a little bit, there we go, and place the cover, again, doesn't matter, front or back, in the center of the paper and glue it on. Yeah, we're going to glue all right. And I am using Designer Dries Clear glue. I love this stuff. Been using it for years. I'm pretty generous with it. Okay, and then we're going to glue this to the center of a piece of black cardstock that you will cut 10.5 by 8.5. And you will need 2 of those because the front cover and the back cover are done exactly the same. I'm going to burnish this. And you can measure what the center of this paper is, but honestly, it's not going to make that much difference. I eyeball these things. So there we have this paper finished. And again, you just follow exactly what I'm doing now for the back cover, or vice versa. They're exactly the same. The next thing we're going to do is take a burnishing tool, and we're going to go around the edges. You don't want to go through the paper. That's why I'm using kind of a large tool. You just want to stretch the paper. The next thing we're going to do, you can use a tool like this. This is a We Are Memory Keepers, and place this on the corner, or you can use a ruler, and I use a Tim Holtz ruler all the time, and put the ruler, mark your spot at one of the, maybe like a 2-inch mark, let's say, a 2-inch mark to the cover at an angle. And then you can draw a line. Make sure that you have 1/8 of an inch left of the paper overlapping the corner. Draw a line. I have 2 lines there. And let me show you this. So that's what I want to cut off, and I want to do that at all 4 corners. See how there's a teeny bit of space here? It's just like 1/8 of an inch. So you can do that, and then you'll know where to cut. Or you can use this handy dandy tool. You can get these through the Button Farm. Lay the corner down, draw your line, and do that on all 4 corners. And that will give you a perfect space for our next little cut. So now once I've done that on all 4 corners, we're going to take a scissors and cut across that line that we just drew. these out of the way. And then I'm going to grab my glue and I'm going to start folding these in. So I'm going to start at the top. I'm going to run glue along the edge of the chip. I'm really generous with my glue. And then I'm going to fold. And I want to just kind of burnish that at first, just by hand. And then I'll use my handy dandy little tool here. And I also go along the edge. Okay, now we have this little space that we left, 1/8 of an inch edge. You're going to take your fingernail and just push that in. Push it in just slightly. And we're going to do that on the other corner too. And then we're going to do exactly the same on the bottom. So we're going to run our glue along the chip. Be nice and generous with your glue. When I'm doing books and using this glue, I have 2 different tops on my glue bottles. I just get the small bottles and you buy the big refills because you can only buy this glue during warm months of the year. So that's what I do. I make sure I have enough glue for the winter, kind of like squirrels stocking up, right? Fold this down. And you'll also notice that when I do this, I like my binding to look even though this is all going to get covered eventually, but I still like it to look even. So I will do opposite sides first and then turn and do the other opposite sides. I don't want to do a long, a short, a long, a short. I know, it's kind of weird, but that's how I am. Okay, then we're going to glue one side on the long side, including I put a little dab at the corners, just because. And I'm using the wider tip on my glue. I'm going to bend that in with my fingernail. Bend in with my fingernail. Roll it over. And you have a nice corner. It's all tucked in and pretty. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing on the opposite side. What I like about this glue and the reason I'm so stuck on it, a lot of glues say they dry clear. Yes, they do dry clear, but they also dry shiny, and I don't like that. This dries perfectly. Push my corner in, fold, burnish, and there you have the front cover or the back cover. So repeat this step with the back cover or the opposite piece, and we'll move on to the spine. Thank you.